When searching for a home in Northeast LA, how is Highland Park different from the immediate surrounding areas of Eagle Rock, Mount Washington, and Glassell Park? Well, first of all, Highland Park is bigger than you think and has a population of around 60,000 people. It's made up of many micro neighborhoods, and each one has their own vibe, personality, and each really feels very neighborhoody. Highland Park is by far the hippest of the Northeast LA areas, having gone through a major renaissance these past 5 to 10 years. Time Out magazine did an issue on the 50 coolest neighborhoods in the world and named Highland Park number 9. Highland Park is one of LA's first neighborhoods, and it has always been and continues to be an artistic haven. As I've mentioned before in my other videos, this was the hub of the arts and crafts movement in Los Angeles. Longtime residents are split between loving the changes and others not being so keen on it and feeling like it's gentrified. But really, what is gentrified? In my opinion, Highland Park is really going back to the way it used to be in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, when most of the cafes, shops, and boutiques were indie-owned by mom-and-pop proprietors. And that's what's happening now. I mean, there really aren't any national chains on the main drags of York or Fig. And back before this renaissance, buyers came to Highland Park if they couldn't afford to buy in Eagle Rock or Mount Washington, and homes were always cheaper per square foot here. You'll see when we touch on some stats that Highland Park is now the same price per square foot as both of these areas. Highland Park has a great selection of really good restaurants, coffee shops, bars, nightlife, boutiques, vintage stores, gift shops. We even have a gorgeous bowling alley, a movie theater, a marionette theater, and not one but 2 ice cream shops. There are 2 main corridors where most of the action is. On York Boulevard, that's generally between Avenue 50 and 53, and on Figueroa, mostly between Avenue 56 and 60. I should also mention Monte Vista Street because there's also great coffee, restaurants, and markets there. As far as homes go, Highland Park is a hot spot for character homes like Craftsman, Spanish, Victorian, mid-century moderns, and of course California bungalows. Many are on hillsides offering great views. Now let's take a look at some numbers. In the third quarter of 2022, the average price of a home in Highland Park was $1,134,000. The average size was 1,415 square feet, and the average price per square foot was $852. Now let's take a look at Eagle Rock, our neighbor to the north, and see how it compares to Highland Park. The population of Eagle Rock is 35,000, and like all areas in the immediate NELA area, it also has a cool personality, although it tends to have more of a cozy small town vibe and is a bit more family oriented. I think it also has a great kind of arty, quirky vibe. The main drags are Colorado Boulevard and Eagle Rock Boulevard, with Colorado being the more walkable area. Eagle Rock has lots of restaurants, good coffee shops, boutiques, kid stores, a few bars, quite a few yoga and Pilates studios, and it has a Vons, Trader Joe's, and a Sprouts. Most notably, Eagle Rock is home to Occidental College and is also known for its great schools. And it's named for a literal eagle rock, where they used to hold Easter services on top of it starting around 1917. That was a fun little fact. Looking at houses in Eagle Rock, you'll find lots of Craftsman, Spanish Revival, storybook homes, and charming California bungalows. And many are on leafy, tree-lined streets, especially north of Colorado. It's not as hilly as the other NELA neighborhoods that we're talking about today, but that's not to say you can't find houses with a view. Now let's talk some numbers. In the third quarter of 2022, the average price of a home in Eagle Rock was $1,412,000. The average size was 1,727 square feet, and the average price was $850 per square foot, which is about the same as Highland Park, which was $852 per square foot. And moving on to Mount Washington, our neighbor to the south, our arty neighborhood to the south. Mount Washington's population is about 13,000 people and really has a great arty, creative, kind of free spirit vibe. And although it's largely residential, Mount Washington is home to both the renowned Southwest Museum and the Self-Realization Center, which actually started off as a hotel in 1909, then became a military academy, and then became a respiratory hospital. I didn't know that, but it's pretty cool. Most of the homes in Mount Washington are on hillsides, so it's not too hard to find a home with a great view here. Although the streets can be steep and winding, so it's not easy to navigate, and you really wouldn't want to cut through this area, but this does keep traffic down and crime down to a minimum. And because of the nature of the terrain here, you generally won't find sidewalks, which can be tricky when you're out with the kids and strollers and all, but the excellent elementary school seems to offset this. There really aren't any restaurants or shops on Mount Washington itself, but there's some great hiking in Heidelberg Park and Moon Canyon, both really great areas. Looking at homes in Mount Washington, you'll definitely find Craftsman, mid-century moderns from like Nutra and Lautner, as well as quite a bit of newer modern construction, which is changing the complexion of the area a little bit, and some of the residents aren't really happy about that. Let's look at the numbers from the third quarter of 2022. The average price of a home in Mount Washington was $1.186 million. Highland Park was $1.134, so that's close. The average size of a home was 1,544 square feet, and the average price per square foot was $853. Remember, Highland Park was $852 per square foot, Eagle Rock was $850, so it's all really neck and neck. Lastly, let's take a look at how Glassell Park, our neighbor to the southwest, compares to Highland Park. Glassell Park has a population of around 25,000 people and is probably the newest up-and-coming area of NELA. This part of the city dates back to 1784 when 36,000 acres of Rancho San Rafael was donated to Jose Verdugo, which is why it's Verdugo Boulevard. It's now bisected by the 2 freeway, so if you're in Glassell Park, you're super close to the on and off ramps and everything's very accessible. Glassell Park is largely residential, but it does have some eclectic coffee shops, a couple of nice cafes, and a couple of bars. Now, nowhere near the offering found in Highland Park, but there are still things to do. There are a couple of really nice parks here, like Elyria Canyon, where there's great hiking, and best of all, Glassell Park has a heated public swimming pool that's open year-round. It's really nice. The Glassell Park Recreation Center is a hub of the neighborhood and offers lots of great sports and cultural programs. Because of the geography of Glassell Park, most of the homes are built into the hillsides, and that means lots of great views. Here you'll find a lot of really cute bungalows, some mid-century moderns, and quite a few newer construction homes. Let's look at the numbers. Looking at the numbers for the third quarter of 2022, the average price of a home in Glassell Park was $1,225,000. The average size of a home here is 1,541 square feet, and the average price per square foot is $866 per square foot. That is the highest in the NELA area. Remember, Highland Park was $852 per square foot. So here's my look at how Highland Park compares to our neighbors in the immediate Northeast LA area. If you have any questions or would like some more information, I would love to talk to you.